a gladiator mentality, and people look at us like, okay, really? Yeah, really.
All right, let's do this. Diamond Envy Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler McComas. Diamond Envy is always brought to you by Cavens Group. Check them out, cavensgroup.com. Jada Coleman did it again. The greatest defensive center fielder in college softball history did it again today. The biggest momentum shift of the game. She makes a full extension catch in the only way Jada Coleman does things, with the bases loaded and 2 outs, OU clinging to a 1-run lead. So many storylines for this game, so many big plays, so many exciting moments as OU run rules Duke today 9-1 in 6 innings. A fantastic performance overall. That is the Oklahoma that no one else wants to see in the Women's College World Series. That OU that we saw today, if you're listening on a Thursday, that's the squad that can really push and go win another national championship. Fantastic performance all the way around. We'll talk about the pitching. Of course, we'll talk about the offense and the defense as well that we need to spend a lot of time on as well. But I'll kind of pick up where I started off there. 2 biggest plays of the game, in my opinion. Jada Coleman making the full extension catch in center field to halt Duke's rally in the top of the 4th inning, and then Kinzie Hansen in the bottom of the 3rd inning hitting the 2-run home run to give OU its first runs of the game and its first lead of the game as well. Let's start with Jada. Got to start with Jada, right? You know, you knew that she was going to make a big play at some point defensively in the Women's College World Series. All you had to do was look at recent years. Recent seasons would tell you that, of course, Jada Coleman was going to make a big play in this moment. And it took her all of about 4 innings to make a highlight reel play in the Women's College World Series and save OU several runs by making that full extension catch. So she's amazing. She's the greatest defensive center fielder, in my opinion. I don't know if there will be another Jada Coleman. That's going to be hard to top. But she loves those big moments, and that was a massive, massive momentum swing. That really could have gotten Duke back in the game. I mean, not only back in the game, that really could have given them the lead back, because if you don't make that play, at least 2 runs are scoring. You go full extension like that, and you don't make the play, and that ball gets to the wall, that's 3 runs. And then all of a sudden, you're down 2 runs. So Jada Coleman, just fantastic today, and even in some other spots, like she had a leadoff single in the bottom of the 3rd inning that really felt like it got things going offensively. But that play in the Kinzie Hansen home run, for my money, the 2 biggest plays of the day. Because I could almost feel I wasn't at the ballpark today. I was about 5 miles away or so doing a radio show in downtown Oklahoma City. But it's almost as if I could feel the tension from the OU fan base 5 miles away. It just felt like early on in that game, there were a lot of nerves. There was just a lot of nervous fans out there. And maybe that's because of the way the game started. You get Ella Parker on with the walk in the bottom of the 1st inning, but you don't do anything with it. You get 2 runners in scoring position in the bottom of the 2nd inning with less than 2 outs, and you don't do anything with it. And that was after, of course, Duke hit that leadoff home run. So I really kind of felt it the entire game. And maybe there's just all these nerves and this pressure because this is what you do. You win in Oklahoma City. You go win the Women's College World Series. So maybe it's just that, why I just felt so much tension with this fan base. But as soon as Duke took that 1-0 lead and you didn't get the runs that you needed to get in the bottom of the 2nd inning, that's where it really kind of felt like going into the 3rd inning. I can feel some tension here. I can feel some nervous fans watching this thing. But that all ended and that all went out the window as soon as Kinzie Hansen hits a 2-run bomb. I mean, look, all home runs count the same at the end of the day, but that home run that Kinzie Hansen hit, that was a bomb. I mean, that was a shot out to left field. Oh, captain, my captain, like she comes up big, the 4th-year senior, should have known it was going to happen, right? She comes up with the big hit in that game. And it was pretty obvious what Duke's strategy was in the circle for that one, and something that we saw at times last year and had a decent amount of success against OU last year and even the year before a little bit, both national championship teams, by the way, is you're going to go with multiple pitchers. we'll throw this pitcher 2 innings, but we're going to keep OU on its heels quite a bit and not give them the same look over several innings. Well, that looked like it was a good strategy up until the bottom of the 3rd inning, and then it really backfired. It really backfired. Because once OU got hot, they didn't cool down for the rest of the day. Once OU got hot, it was really over. And no one was calling game. Hey, Kinzie just hit a 2-run bomb in the bottom of the 3rd inning. That's ball game. I don't think anyone was calling the game in that spot against a good Duke team. But you just kind of felt it was a deep sigh of relief. It was just, okay, now we can settle in. Pressure's off a little bit. Let's go play. And once this team just kind of relaxed and just played today, that's when you really saw some of the best OU softball that OU's played here in quite some time. Kinzie Hansen goes yard, 6th career in Women's College World Series for her, 3rd all time. I mean, that's just awesome stuff. Alina Torres goes yard after that. That's when you really started to feel good about this game. When Alina Torres hits the 2-run home run that she did and you're up 4-1, then you're really starting to relax a little bit and say, all right, starting to really like the spot that we're in right now. So really it was that bottom of the 3rd, top of the 4th inning that really kind of won this game for OU, I feel like. Because Duke had the momentum. First time in the Women's College World Series. They got to face off against big, bad Oklahoma. Let's go show them that we're not afraid of the squad. And they came out and took the early lead. They delivered the first punch. But once OU punched back and they got the momentum inside the stadium, that's when things really flipped, and that's when it felt like it was over. So kudos to Kinzie Hansen, Alina Torres, Jada Coleman for really turning things in OU favor in about that 20-minute span. But there's just so many players today that played so extremely well. I mean, Sid Sanders. How about Sid Sanders hitting the ball that she hit today? Kinzie having another RBI in the bottom of the 4th inning. I thought Kirsten Deal was fantastic in relief today. And she's mainly been, called upon to be a starting pitcher. So being in a relief pitcher, that's not an easy spot coming into the Women's College World Series. Passed that test with flying colors. She looked really good. And yes, both pitchers today got help from fantastic defensive plays, but I'm not going to hold against that. I'm not going to hold that against them for a second. I mean, here's what really matters at the end of the day. Because while I'm doing the radio show, I hear some complaints about OU's pitchers today, mainly Kelly Maxwell. And no, Kelly Maxwell wasn't perfect, but here are the numbers at the end of the day in the box score. 1 run allowed and just 3 hits. It's pretty good. Like, I will take that the rest of the tournament, would you not? If OU goes the rest of the tournament giving up just 1 run and 3 hits in 6 innings, guess what's going to happen, guys? They're going to win their 4th consecutive national championship, and they're not going to lose a game throughout. So, was it perfect? No. Kelly Maxwell's got to be a little bit sharper. But we're getting texts today on our text line, and I'll read one verbatim. OU needs a new pitching coach. They are just not getting better. What? OU needs a new pitching coach? What? There are hot takes and there are dumb takes. And to think that OU needs to shake up any of its coaching staff after a run rule win in the Women's College World Series, are you kidding me? Is absolutely insane. And I think that this is another matter of we just kind of tend to take things for granted and take this team for granted at times. They didn't play North Texas on a Wednesday night. No offense to North Texas, but that wasn't UNT in the other dugout today. That was a really, really good Duke team in the Women's College World Series. So, yes, it wasn't perfect, but it's pretty daggum good. 1 run, 3 hits, and 6 innings. I'll take that any day of the week. I'll take that. So I'm not one to sit here tonight and really complain about OU's pitching staff and they need all these changes. Kelly Maxwell's got to be sharper for sure, but I think that she will. And you got to love what you saw from Kirsten Deal tonight and what she did in relief. But that's the Oklahoma right there that if that team shows up, that's the team that nobody else wants to see. And that team is more than capable of going and winning a national championship. I mean, the defense was just so good tonight. And I made a video earlier this week, and if you haven't, check it out on this channel, which, by the way, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those alerts because I'm going to be doing a video and a YouTube short every single day. Definitely during the Women's College World Series, but that's my goal to do something at least every single day. But in a video I did 2 days ago, I said the number one reason why this team is going to win another title is because it's defense. I don't bring that up to pat myself on the back. I just bring it up to tell you that it was extremely noticeable today just how elite this defense is. And take the Jada Coleman play out of the equation for just 1 second, because I want to talk about the defense here. Take the Jada Coleman play out of the equation. Let's talk about early on in the game when it was Alina Torres that makes an amazing backhanded play at second base and throws out a runner. Just some of the many plays that were made today. It wasn't elite defensively. It wasn't great defensively just because Jada Coleman made a full extension catch in center field. Everyone was good today defensively, man. I mean, just all over the place. Go back and watch that game. But I think you got to be really happy with the way that things played out today. That's a good team. And that's what kind of annoys me a little bit about some of the reaction coming out of this game. And I'm not just talking about OU fans. I'm even talking a little bit nationally as well, is that there's this opinion that, well, OU won 9-1 in 6 innings. Duke wasn't that good. It's Duke. They're making their first appearance in the Women's College World Series. Of course, OU rolled over Duke. Duke ain't that good. I ain't buying that for a second. I adamantly believe Duke is a really good team with some really good pitching, a very capable offense. Like, just because they got run ruled today, that doesn't mean that I believe at all that Duke is not some good softball team. Maybe Duke beats Alabama. Maybe Duke ends up winning a couple of games. I don't think the story today is that Duke didn't belong to be here. Duke deserves to be in OKC. Oklahoma just turned it on today. And they've really started to do that over the course of the past month. And you hear players like Alyssa Brito say, the turning point of the season was really that Sunday game against Oklahoma State. I've talked about that a couple of times, but, OU had already lost the series. What are you going to do? How are you going to go about that Sunday now that you've lost the first 2 games of the series? OU's responded, and it just felt like they've been a different team since. Not that it has all been perfect. It hasn't been. But they haven't lost a game since then, and they've rolled through some really good teams since that. I mean, just think about the teams that they've beaten over the course of the past month. You beat Oklahoma State in that Sunday game. You beat Texas in the Big 12 Tournament Championship game. Beat a good Oregon squad twice. Beat a good Florida State squad twice. And beat a really good Duke team today, all without losing. So, look, do I think this team's going to win a championship next week? Yeah, I do. I think that. And I think that because I feel as good about this team as I have all year long. And I feel like I've been saying that over the course of the past 2.5 weeks now. I feel more and more sure about that the more I watch this team play softball. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Because the pitching was good enough today. And I think overall it was good. Again, 3 hits and just 1 run. I will take that every single game for the rest of the tournament. But if that's the offense that we're going to get consistently, and again, that's a good Duke rotation that they have. But if that's the offense that we're going to get consistently from this team, forget about it, man. I mean, that's I don't care if it's Nyjah Kennedy in the circle, whoever. That team's going to be extremely tough to beat, and they're going to have to be beat twice. So, yeah, it was Kinzie today. Kinzie was the big star offensively. But Alina Torres hits a bomb. Sid Sanders, who quietly we felt like's getting hotter and hotter at the plate, hit a bomb today. Some of those players that you need down the order a little bit to really produce today. Did they not? So that's exciting here moving forward is that, okay, you've got the 4th-year seniors that you all feel really good about. Brito had a great day as well. But you've got some of these other players down the order as well that are hitting the way that they are for power. That's extremely deadly, and that's extremely lethal. So curious to kind of where you guys are at coming out of that one. Am I being too optimistic? Am I being too positive about the pitching staff today? Should I say, like a text that we got, that OU needs to fire Jen Rocha and find a new pitching coach because they're just not any good? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in my Twitter DMs. Love to hear those. For those of you watching YouTube Live, drop any comments that you have about the game. Would love to read those before we get out of here. But just what you're looking for. What you are looking for in Game 1 of the Women's College World Series. And I was out and about in downtown OKC today. Did a show at the Hilton Garden Inn in Bricktown. Fantastic place, by the way. I would recommend the bar that's there, all the TVs that were there. That's where I watched the game today, is in the hotel that you see if you're sitting in the Bricktown ballpark. It's the hotel that you see out in left field. That's where I was hanging out today doing the radio show. UCLA fans everywhere. Florida fans everywhere. So it's no surprise at all that teams travel for the Women's College World Series. But it's just kind of interesting to see that many of those two fan bases out in OKC. So if you're looking to be surrounded by some other fans, that's a pretty good location there, the Hilton Garden Inn in Bricktown, OKC. But yeah, it's going to be a fun tournament. Already has been a fun tournament. That UCLA and Alabama game was fantastic before. And I got to give a tip of the cap to all of you fans that made it out today in session 1. What was the final number? 12,445 fans. A session 1 attendance record at the Women's College World Series. And that was with the rain delay. We didn't have great weather to start off this day, which as I'm recording right now, it's about a little bit before 7:20. And we're already, few innings into this Texas-Stanford game. So even after the 90-minute rain delay, we've been moving along pretty quick today. But session 1 record, that's impressive. And it's just so cool how big this event has gotten in Oklahoma City and how many fans show up for it. Not just fans of the team, but fans of softball and the events that go around it. And the morons that want to move this away from Oklahoma City, the more and more I talk about that, the more and more it aggravates me. I mean, it really aggravates me that people who have been to Oklahoma City before, see the environment, see how much this place supports it, really wants to move it out of OKC just because they can't beat big bad Oklahoma. Whatever. It's annoying, but I know we've been talking about it all week long. Good performance, though, today, for sure. Just feeling really good about things. I think the UCLA game on Saturday is going to be tough. UCLA is a good team. We know about Maya Brady. She's been there for a bit. We know who she's related to. We know that guy used to play very, very well in big NFL games when he was a player. But overall, good. Patty said that Jada Coleman was kind of the unsung hero today, and I think she meant offensively by that, but you throw in her defensive efforts today. And that's the thing about Jada is, there's a lot of softball players that what they give you and their value to a team is ultimately determined by what they're going to give you offensively. Like they play left field, they play first base, but their ultimate value to a team and how they're going to help you win is offensively. Well, this is the great thing about Jada and why I think that she's the greatest OU center fielder of all time and the greatest defensive center fielder of all time. Because Jada can impact a game in so many ways. So many ways. She's a great hitter. She's a great base runner. But look how elite she is defensively. She's a player that can help you win a game in every single aspect of a softball game. And that's rare. You don't find that a lot. And I've just seen so many games, particularly in OKC, where she's turned the momentum. She's given the momentum to OU on a defensive play. That's not easy to do, guys. Your big momentum shifts in games, more often than not, come from your pitchers in the circle or really your big offensive plays. But how many times now have you seen Jada Coleman make a huge defensive play throughout her career that's really turned the momentum to OU's side, and OU ends up getting on a roll and winning a game convincingly? Like that today, to me, after what Jada did, it's no coincidence that OU went on to run rule Duke today. Of course they were going to run rule Duke. They're up 4-1, and she makes a diving play in center field. No runs. We're out of the thing. Like that just created an incredible amount of momentum, and you really feel it in that stadium when OU's playing. And OU never looked back after that. Never looked back after that. So when OU's got the momentum in that stadium and Jada's fantastic at giving you that momentum in the stadium, best of luck to you. It's going to be really difficult to beat this team when that's the case. But as always, it was fun. It's just so enjoyable. And I tell you guys all the time, but I need to remind even myself a little bit more. Don't take this for granted. How much fun did you have watching that game today? It was really fun, was it not? Probably a little bit stressed early in the game, but once things turn, you're just like, yeah, this is how I want to spend a Thursday. Oh, you beating up on a good Duke team and run rolling them in 6 innings? We don't have a lot of these left, not with this group anyway. So take it for granted. You got a day off. Let's recharge a little bit and get ready for Saturday, 2 p.m. on ABC, as a lot of people are going to be watching that softball game. Two titans of the sport, a team with a lot of history with one another. I think a team with a lot of respect for each other. But which two programs would you rather see play on 2 p.m. on ABC than OU and UCLA? The best thing going on in the sport. UCLA, of course, is a blue blood. That's two blue bloods right there. That's what the television networks want, OU and UCLA. And I think it's going to be a fantastic game. And I'm interested in who starts in the circle for OU. I really am. You know, Kelly just hasn't been super sharp her last 2 outings. It's been good enough to win, but she hasn't been her best self in her last 2 outings. But here's the great thing about winning in this tournament. You win, you get a day off. You win, you get a day off. So you really put your pitching situation in a fantastic spot if you can continue to win in this tournament. Is it going to be Kelly Maxwell? Is it going to be Nicole May? Is it going to be Kirsten Deal? Patty's got a decision on her hands, and I'm really, really interested to see who she goes with. But again, if that's the offense that we're going to see consistently, I think OU can win a championship and win this game on Saturday with any of those 3 arms. Any of those 3 arms when you're scoring runs like you did today. All right, appreciate it as always. Thanks to Caven's Group for sponsoring the Diamond Envy podcast. Like I said, a video and a short every single day. So if you're watching this, please please subscribe, tell your friends about it. A lot of softball content is coming your way. And if you're one of those that's a big OU softball and a big OU football fan, I know there's many of you out there, be doing a ton of football content during the offseason as well, and of course during football season. Softball, football content, let's go. Can't wait to do it. Talk to you guys tomorrow right here on the Diamond Envy podcast. I'm your host, Tyler McComas.